All right, let's do this. So I'm not going to react to this video because this seems like the kind of thing that will get you a content ID flagged pretty easily. But we will go ahead and take a look at the new Horus Heresy stuff. G-dub, why? All right, so these are the Overseers. It's actually a really, really good face sculpt. And the painter, as usual, the heavy metal team just knocked it out of the park. This fantastic sculpt was fantastic paint job. Got some more enclosed details. Got some nice battle damage on some of the armor. And the whole point is you're mixing them with your Solar Auxilia. Spoilers, he's not friendly. For the Traitor Overseer. Well, I guess we'll be seeing him soon. But yeah, that's a pretty cool piece. I don't think I think a lot of the other Heresy pieces that have come before it were better. But this is still a really nice, cool piece. But now, what we're actually here for. Sing a song of praise. Today's Grotmas calendar detachment is none other than the Champions of Faith for Adepta Sororitas. I need to dust this office or something. That's all there is to it. I just need to get this office dusted or something. As I was talking to my brother this morning, and I wasn't having any problems. So I see if I get on stream and I talk, and like all of a sudden the allergies like, ugh. All right. When a truly vital mission must be completed, the Adepta Sororitas assembled their most skilled and pious warriors. Whether they muster in the marshalling cloisters of a holy shrine, aboard a dropship thundering through the hostile skies, or even upon the open field of war amid fountaining explosions and heaped corpses, these hand-picked champions of the Imperial Creed halt long enough to kneel as one and pray to the God Emperor. Only once they have sworn irrevocable oaths to the Master of Mankind, promising they will die before failing him, do they advance. Bound by the promises they have made and sure in the knowledge that they are the finest exemplars of their order, these champions of faith stride out with unshakable purpose and fiercely focused determination to prevail no matter the cost. Are we about to see limited oath of moment for Sororitas? This detachment focuses on the most devout of the devout, the Celestians. Their righteous purpose adds 1 to the OS of Celestian Sacrosancts and lets players discard miracle dice to make Battle Sisters, Celestian Sacrosancts, and Paragon War Suits righteous. While a unit is righteous, it is braver, it moves faster, and it fights harder for the glory of the Master of Mankind. Righteous units are rewarded for their devotion elsewhere in this detachment as well. For the example, the Mark of Devotion adds 1 to the attacks characteristic of the bearer's melee weapons, but while they are righteous, it adds another attack and a point of damage as well, making any character into a threat to be feared. To the Heart of Heresy succinctly describes the purpose of this detachment, to take the purity of the Sisters' battle and use it as a torch to burn out evil at the source. This stratagem grants additional strength to your units in the fight phase and additional armor penetration as well if they are righteous. So we got the detachment and prayers up for we remain in the mood of holiness tomorrow. It is time for the Blood Angels. I would have thought you would have saved them for last. But I honestly, I do think, I'm looking at the order and I can't make any sense of it. So I wonder if they literally drew names out of a hat. Like, I legit wonder if they drew names out of a hat. All right, Champions of Faith. Okay. So right off the get-go, we know we're going to be interacting with Miracle Dice. And you Sisters players, in case you don't know, you have much fewer Miracle Dice. Depending on how many generators you have on the battlefield, as far as like your Battle Sister squads, which you're gonna need to use your Battle Sister squads now, I think. Because not that you weren't using them before, but you're really gonna need them and keep them alive now. Because you are generating, without any other generators, you're generating half your Miracle Dice. And less than that if your opponent gets a particularly good phase on you. Because if you lose more than one Sisters of Battle unit per phase, you are losing Miracle Dice. So this is... The fact this interacts with Miracle Dice means that you're going to have a much more limited resource to use to boost those. Sisters are, I think, going to be in a really rough spot. I think arguably they're in a rougher spot than GSC are. So this is you're going to with this detachment, if you're going to have to make some tough decisions if it is spending your Miracle Dice. So, righteous purpose. Whether high-ranking clergy must be rescued, a priceless relic recovered, or some arch heretic slain, these warriors that know that to fail after promising victory to the God Emperor would be infinitely worse than death. His knowledge fills them with righteous purpose and unflinching will to succeed no matter the odds. In your command phase, you can discard up to 3 of your Miracle Dice. For each discarded, you can select one Adeptus Sororitas unit from your army. Until the start of your next command phase, that unit is righteous. While a unit is righteous, add 1 inch to the move characteristic of models in that unit. Improve the leadership characteristic of models in that unit by 1. Improve the weapon skill and ballistic skill characteristics of weapons equipped by Battle Sister Squads, Celestian Sacrosancts, and Paragon Warsuit model units by 1. This is a hell of a buff. You're only giving this to 3 of your units per turn, but I'm seeing you're probably going to want to gather your Miracle Dice and use 3 of them. And the other thing is this is a great way to spend Miracle Dice that are bad rolls, that you don't... Like, if you roll a 1 on a Miracle Dice, you can just spend it here, because the roll doesn't matter for this. So that is one of the big benefits to this detachment. But yeah. Paragon Wash suits are already good. Sacrosancts have been struggling a little bit. I don't think they get picked very often. Really quick, I've got a calculator, a sheet where I've been like gathering up and like keeping track of what players are using. Now, to be fair, this was only for the World Championship, but I figured it would be interesting to see what the best players in the world, because you have to be invited to the World Championship. It would be interesting to see what the best ones are using. And I don't think Sacrosancts were really big in Sororitas. No, Celestians were doing pretty well. They weren't doing as well as Battle Sisters. Like, so Battle Sisters, are very important to your sister strategy. And obviously Castigators and Immolators were really big. But Paragons are getting used, and Celestians were getting used. So yeah. So these are, especially now with like some of the points increases, like these are top units that you are using. So this is affecting the units that you are picking for this are relevant. This is a relevant buff to relevant units. But even then, like all of your other units, it's any Adeptus Sororitas unit. So you can give 1 inch move to an Immolator. So this is great. +1 leadership is great. Like this is a very fantastic buff, but of course it's limited. You're only doing 3 units per turn. While a Celestian Sacrosanct unit from your army is not battle shocked, add 1 to the objective control characteristic of Celestian Sacrosanct models in that unit, which I believe makes them OC2. So give them a little bit of extra control, which will help you with objective control and help you with mission play. So we're off to a good start. We are off to a good start. This is, I think this is at least an A tier, because you're giving a significant buff to up to 3 units in your army. Again, providing you're maintaining your miracle dice generation. All right. Triptych of Judgment, 15 points. The 3 windows of this sacred artifact display 3 aspects of the God Emperor in judgment over mortal souls. No warrior of faith will countenance failure beneath its threefold gaze. Adeptus Sororitas model only, so any of your characters. Each time a model in the bearer's unit makes an attack, you can ignore any or all modifiers to the attack's ballistic skill, weapon skill, or any or all modifiers to the hit rolls. This is nice. Stealth is a thing. Like, you will see stealth on the tabletop, so being able to ignore stealth is great. Other modifiers are much rarer, and some of the worst modifiers, like the big one, is modifiers to damage or attacks characteristics, and this doesn't affect those. So it would be nice if that included those too, but it's nice. You're not going to take this or build around it. You got 15 points free. I think it should be cheaper. I think I think this should be like a 10 pointer, but if you've got the points, it wouldn't be bad to take. Man, might as well call this the Sneeze Miss stream. All right, Mark of Devotion, 30 points. A fresh oath brand burns in this champion's flesh, its heat remaining miraculously undimmed and its searing pain focusing their devout wrath. One of your characters, add 1 to the attacks characteristic of the bearer's melee weapon. Always relevant, especially on like a Paragon Warsuit. Except I think the only character in Paragon Warsuit is Morven Vol, and she can't take this. But any of your other characters plus 1 attacks is always relevant. While the bearer's unit is righteous, add 2 to the attacks characteristic, 1 to the damage characteristic, and 2 to attacks and 1 to damage. Again, very relevant. 30 points on a sister's character though, like, not other than Vol herself, none of the sister's characters are particularly dangerous in melee. I mean, this will make them relevant in melee. I don't think it's going to make them dangerous. So 30 points, it's a bit much. Eyes of the Oracle. Having torn them from the sockets of the heretical witch, this warrior of faith keeps their shriveled orbs sealed in a miniature reliquary about their neck. They believe that tormented by holy imprisonment, the traitor's eyes guide their aim towards other infernal champions. One of your characters, the bearer's melee weapons. The bearer's weapons have precision. Each time the bearer's unit destroys an enemy's character model, you gain a CP. This is the relevant part of this. Okay? So, your character gains precision. That's okay. That is okay. Again, Sisters' characters aren't exactly melee powerhouses in the current codex. So, and again, it's not like you can give this to Vol, who is a melee powerhouse. The important thing, though, is each time the bearer's unit destroys an enemy character model. So it's the unit, not the bearer. So as long as you're leading a good unit, like your Sacrosancts, then you can reliably gain CP with this. So now your opponent is going to probably try to make sure you don't get to target their characters with this unit to try to deny you the resource. But it's 10 points. And if you get 1 CP, that's easily worth 10 points. All right, Sanctified Amulet, 25 points. Belief radiates out of this blessed icon, forming a holy circle of abjuration that holds at bay the unclean and leaves this champion free to do their duty to the God Emperor. Sororitas model only. Enemy units that are set up on the battlefield from reserves cannot be set up within 12 inches of the bearer. Fantastic. This is a great one. So you're probably going to take these two. And And then you might take Mark of Devotion or Triptych of Judgment if you got the points free. I think they're both a little overcosted, but these two are both great. These are both useful and well costed in my opinion. So yeah. So pretty good start. All right, Shield of Denial. 1 CP battle tactic with no singular and fanatical a purpose, the Adepta Sororitas can will their injuries away, at least until the fighting is done. Any phase just after a mortal wound is allocated to an Adepta Sororitas unit from your army. Until the end of the phase, models in your unit have a Feel No Pain 6-up ability against mortal wounds. If your unit is righteous, until the end of the phase, models in your unit have a 5-up. Yeah, that should be 5-4. Hell, that should be just a flat 4-up. Very much not impressed. Feel No Pain 6-up on the... Sororitas are not high wound count. So Feel No Pains are really, really mean when you put them on a wound count with a high, on a model with a high wound count. Okay, or a unit with a high wound count. Because this just the statistical average, like just the way the dice will roll, when you're rolling enough Feel No Pains, you will reduce the wounds that model takes. So if it takes a lot of wounds to get through something, then just on the sheer number of times that you're going to be rolling the die, you will reduce the damage done, and you will improve your model's durability. The lower the wound count, though, the more swingy it feels and the more reliant you are on the die rolls. So if you've got a 10 wound Battle Sister squad and you've got a 6-up Feel No Pain, then that's not very reliable. Like, on the surface, that is a 16% increase in durability on average, but you may never roll a 6 for all of the damage your unit takes. So, and even then, 16% durability, is 1 to 2 wounds. So it's just very swingy, very unreliable. 5-up is better, but this really should be 5-up, 4-up. This really, really should be 5-up, 4-up. I don't know why it's not. So in my opinion, this is fail. All right, 1 CP Path of the Righteous, Battle Tactic Stratagem. When exemplars of the Imperial Creed stride to do the God Emperor's will, little can slow their sacred procession. Use in your fight phase on one of your units from your army that has not been selected. It looks like this is a 6-inch Paladin and Consolidate. And if your unit is righteous, it does not need to end the move closer to the enemy model, providing it ends the move as close as possible to the closest enemy unit. All right. When doing so, if your unit is righteous, it does not need to end that move closer to the closest enemy model, provided it ends that move as close as possible to the closest enemy unit. So you get a little bit more flexibility. Here's the funny thing. That might not sound like anything, but fight phase movement shenanigans are a thing. There's a reason they tried to simplify them and constrict them down so tightly in 10th edition. Because in 8th edition, fight phase movement shenanigans were wild. They got better in 9th, but there was still a lot of shenanigans that took place. So this re-enables some of those shenanigans. It's still, so a 6-inch Paladin and Consolidate is great. Like, it just, the amount that it makes your opponent have to, and the thing is like, this stratagem really doesn't exist for you to use it. It exists for you to tell your opponent you have it, so that they have to be more careful with their screen placement. And then if they do screw up their screen placement, it means you get to tie up units they didn't want get tied up in combat. So this is a great stratagem. These are already great. And then you get a little bit more in the way of fight phase shenanigans that you get to do if you've got a righteous unit. So this is pretty good. I really like this. This is very interesting. I know that there some the top tier sisters players are going to be able to make some fun use of that. Suffer not the unfaithful. So far, all of these are green. Wow, that's actually kind of rare. No unclaimed foe can be permitted to stand between the god. We have a typo. The typos are actually relatively rare in these. The Go Emperor's sworn champions and their oath duty. They must be struck down with unmerciful fury. Use in your shooting phase or the fight phase. One unit from your army that is righteous, so you have to use this on a righteous unit and has not been selected to shoot or fight this phase. So if they have a lethal hits or sustained hits until the end of the phase, weapons equipped by models in unit have the selected ability. I really wish this was any unit, and then you select one or the other, and then if it's righteous, you get both. I think that would have been better. As it is, it's okay. Like, getting lethal hits and sustained hits one is great. You know, you're going to be making righteous units. Spending a CP to give them lethal or sustained hits is going to be something you're going to do. So you're definitely using this. This is not a bad stratagem. It's just a stratagem that I feel is a little bit underwhelming considering other stratagems available in other detachments. All right, Bastion of Faith, 1 CP battle tactic. Unified in their inviolate dedication to fulfill their oaths to him on the throne, the Order's elite from a rampart of ceramite and unyielding faith to throw back the desperate blows of the foe. The Order's elite form a rampart. All right. Fight phase. Just after an enemy unit is selected as targets, one of your Celestian Sacrosanct units that was selected as this very limited. You're only using this on your Sacrosancts. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack targets your unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll. In addition, if your unit is righteous, you can select one other Sacrosancts unit from your army that is not battle shocked and within 6 inches of your unit. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack targets that Celestian Sanctuary. So you can potentially target up to 2 of your Sacrosancts with this. So it is limited, but you can give -1 to hit to 2 units if you do this correctly. And that is great. And -1, again, -1 to hit in melee is fantastic. So this is a great strat. To the heart of heresy. 1 CP battle tactic stratagem. Seizing their moment to drive like a burning blade through the enemy lines and complete their holy mission, these faithful strike with unstoppable might. You're going to use this in your fight phase, in any fight phase. You pick one unit from your army. Until the end of turn, improve the strength characteristic of melee weapons and equipped by models in your unit by 1. If your unit is righteous, until the end of phase, improve the armor penetration characteristic of melee weapons equipped by 1 as well. So +1 strength, +1 AP is fantastic. So, and especially the +1 AP. So this is also a really good strat. And indefatigable dedication. 1 CP strategic ploy. Such champions of the God Emperor never stop fighting or striving for victory, transforming momentary retreats into another opportunity to purge the unclean and press on to the objective. So use this in your movement phase after one of your units has fallen back. Pick that unit. Till the end of your turn, your unit is eligible to shoot in a turn in which it fell back. And if your unit is righteous, your unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which it fell back for 1 CP. And that's a great stratagem as well. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 good stratagems. We have a stratagem that I wish was better, but you're still going to use it. And then we have your fail stratagem that you're probably never going to use. But that's okay because you've got plenty of other good stratagems you can use instead. So yeah, this is good. This is good. Is it as good as one of the others? Like it might be better than Bringers of Flame was the nerfs Bringers of Flame took, because Bringers of Flame took some serious nerfs. So it might be better than Bringers of Flame. Is it better than Hallowed Martyrs or what's the other one that gets all the play? Close the document down. Is it better than the top detachments? That I'm not sure of. I think you might try to play this. I think we're going to see some players try to play it and see how it's going to work. See how it does. Like I said, the primary buff that you are getting, pardon me, the primary buff you are giving to your units is a good buff. It is a good, meaningful buff. You've given them the 1-inch move characteristic. You are protecting them better from certain leadership shenanigans that exist out there, which is really great considering you're probably going to be using stratagems on those units. And the units you're actually going to want to use this on are going to be much more reliable and consistent. So you're only doing this on 3 per turn. This is not Oath of Moment. I was kind of wondering if we were going to see something in some version of Oath of Moment versus... This is not Oath of Moment. This is by not the most powerful detachment ability we've seen by any stretch of the imagination. It is better than a lot of the more limited ones we've seen, though. And the nice thing is again, you're doing this every command phase, so you can change this. It's in your command phase, so your opponent's not really going to get much of a way to react to it. The big problem is, will you have the miracle dice? So, and the fact that you're using these instead of using them for the consistency that sisters often rely on. And I think one of the reasons they thought Shield of Denial was okay is because of Miracle Dice. But again, your Miracle Dice generation has been halved. You've got it is a much more precious resource, and you're going to want to spend 3 of them every turn. So, or each one of your turns. So you're really going to need to keep your Miracle Dice generation up. So it's a good thing that Battle Sister squads are one of the ones that benefit, because you're going to need your Battle Sister squads. I don't remember who else gets to help with Miracle Dice generation, but you're going to need all of it. Like, you're going to need to make sure you're keeping your Miracle Dice. And that means you are going to need to do what Sisters were doing maybe a little less of before, that Votann players are already used to doing. And you're going to need to trade. You are going to need to set up your trades extremely efficiently and extremely intelligently, because you are going to want to trade a unit every damage phase. Like, every phase you can lose a unit, you are probably going to want to set up that trade with your opponent so you can keep that Miracle Dice going in. You just need, again, like with all trades, you need to make sure that you trade the unit you lost for not just the Miracle Dice, but for a better kill on your opponent's unit. So this is going to be a challenging detachment to play, and Sisters in general, I think, are going to be a much more challenging army to play now. So I think we're going to have to wait and see how things get on the table. Like I said, I don't think this is by any stretch of the imagination the best detachment in Sisters. But I think that somebody's probably I think it's worth giving a try. And I do think that more skilled players are going to look at this and say, I think I can make this work, or I think I could do something cool with this. But this is definitely not going to help Sisters through the woes that they're going to struggle with. That's unfortunately going to be on the shoulders of the faction specialists to do. So that's my thoughts here. So I have company over today, but it is long term, so I probably will break away again for my next stream. But until then, I've been Divine Erdrick.